This is a display sample of the MORride independent suspension that is standard on a New Horizon. It's on all models of New Horizons, has been for a number of years. I consider it an industry-leading suspension. Since New Horizons is custom, I can put anything I want on my coach, and some people do put air ride suspensions on, but we've had 5 coaches with this suspension on it, and I consider it the best in the industry. I can't think of anything else I'd rather have. Now this is just a display sample, it's not the actual componentry, but it shows you the elements of it. You can see here there's a shock absorber right here and the rubber spring pack. This is the active component of the suspension, and it's sized for the size of the coach. So they'll vary in size. This again is just a sample, and you can see the disc brake out here. Now, disc brake is an option on the New Horizons, but you would want to put disc brakes on any New Horizon you would get. The electric brakes have maintenance issues. You know, the drum brakes work, but you have to keep them tuned up all the time. So I prefer the disc brake. It's much easier to use. So we'll step outside and we'll look at an actual MORride suspension on a frame, and then we'll show it to you on my actual coach as well. But we do have a frame sitting outside right now that we can look at. Okay, now we're outside, and this is a frame that just came out of the frame shop. Actually, it was just painted, came out of the paint booth, and you can see better the axles on here. This just has temporary tires and wheels on it. These aren't the tires and wheels that would be on an actual unit. It's just to roll it around. And if you look at the suspension, you can see that there isn't a true axle on here. There's a cross piece, but it's not a real axle. They do, however, carry axle ratings, and this is a 7,000 pound set of axles on here. You can see the rubber spring pack down below if you can get in. The shock absorber is here, and the rubber spring pack is on the inside. Actually, if we look at the opposite side, where those brackets are coming down, the rubber spring packs are stacked in there. And the number of spring packs is always 3, but they do vary in size based on the projected weight of the coach. These are independent axles. It's not like a leaf spring that ties between the axles. Okay, so each wheel operates independently of the other 5 wheels. So when you're going over a bump or going down the road and hit a pothole, you'll find that the coach rides much more level. It doesn't bounce around as much, and it protects, more importantly, the interior of your coach. There's a big advantage to this suspension type versus leaf springs. There's also not the typical bushings and stuff that ties everything together that tend to break. This is a very heavy-duty axle. You will not ever break it or pieces of it. And this coach actually has disc brakes on it, which you can see the rotor in here. These are the actual tires and wheels on my rig, not the temporary ones that were on the frame that you just saw. These are the new wheels for the 2015s and beyond. Of course, you can change that, but these are the standard ones that come with it. These are H-rated tires, Goodyear G114s. Don't confuse them with G614s. These are H-rated, even though they carry a G label on them. So on a coach this size, you really need this type of tire and wheel. These are 17.5-inch rims, disc brakes, and these are 8,000 pound axles, 3 8,000 pound axles. So the total coach weight on this is gonna approach 28,000 pounds loaded. We don't have a loaded weight yet, but this is really what you need to carry this level of coach. A shot. Okay, sit, 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 stay. The hitch head on here is a 29K hitch head. It's produced by Young's Welding, which was the outfit that produced the frames and the hitches for Hitchhiker. And this is a powder coated frame and hitch. and it's sized to take, this is the maximum size that you can put on these conventional fifth wheels without going to a semi setup, flat plate, bolster plate like on a semi. So that kind of limits the weight of the total weight of the trailer, and we will be stickered for 29,000 pounds gross vehicle weight rating. That gives us a lot of carrying capacity. All New Horizons have at least 3,000 pounds of carrying capacity. This will have more than that. And people ask often about these kingpins. This is a standard kingpin that you see on a semi-trailer. They're the same on RVs, so they're identical. They'll obviously carry a lot of weight since this is what you see on a semi-trailer. Now, you'll see airlines back here, colored airlines, along with the electrical connection. The reason I have this on here is I use a blue dot air over hydraulic brake actuator to actuate my hydraulic disc brakes. And I do this because I pull with a semi-truck, and I already have air on a semi-truck. Plus, the advantage is these are all DOT components. They've been used for billions of road miles. It's easy to find parts for them, and it's a more effective braking system than electric over hydraulic. You don't have to change anything on your truck. Your big trucks are just designed to work with this type of technology. As part of this, there is an air tank inside the coach that contains the air that actuates this system. So there's some control valves in here that are part of the system, part of the protection aspects of the system, and the air from the semi-truck is contained in here. So the air that actuates the brakes actually comes from here, not from the truck, but it's supplied to this tank from the truck. And if you look on the opposite side over here, you can see the actuator itself. There's two of these right here, and this converts the air that's coming from that tank into hydraulic pressure. There's a master cylinder right behind that you don't see. There's two of these. So I have a split brake system. The front axle runs from this one, and the bottom, the rear axles run from the one just like this below it. They take hydraulic fluid just like your typical master cylinder would, and this is just a brake can from a truck that converts the air pressure to hydraulic fluid with a push rod. So it's a very effective braking system. It's truly proportional, unlike any electric one, which is just pseudo-proportional. There is no controller in the truck cab. You don't need anything special with the large trucks. So it's a real advantage using a system like this. Okay, this is a typical New Horizons frame. This is not an exceptionally large rig. One of the things you'll notice about this is how small this upper deck is. A lot of New Horizons have the same size upper deck here for the bedroom and bathroom as for the living area. But this one is a little bit different. Of course, everything's custom, so they all are a little bit different. And if you look in the background and look at my upper deck, if you go from the door where the upper deck starts to the nose and compare that to the rear of the trailer, they're almost the same size. So we have a very large bathroom and bedroom area up there, exceptionally sized shower, washer and dryer side by side, which increases this upper deck space here. So how is the upper deck joined to the lower deck? All the important things are in this area right here. You'll see a super gusset here that ties the vertical upright to the I-beam. This is a very important component. This is a 1/2-inch plate steel. It's exceptionally strong, and it gives you rigidity between the upper and lower so they don't tear apart. And you'll also see this I-beam is welded into this vertical riser. And then the belly is hung or suspended. It's called a suspended belly or a hung belly below. This is the storage compartment space you saw in the storage segment on our coach. And the tanks go in here, and the freshwater tank goes in further back. Now you'll notice a couple other things that are different on here. This is a 12-inch I-beam with 4-inch tubular steel welded below it. Okay, so you get the vertical benefits of the I-beam, which they build bridges out of, so it supports a vertical load very well. And then you get also the vertical and lateral loading of the tubular steel down here. So you got 12 inches here, 4 inches here. And for additional rigidity on the I-beam, they weld in this W webbing in here. This is angle iron welded in. The purpose of this is to give you a little bit of extra rigidity in the forward part of the coach, because these tend to be very large, and you don't want to go to a larger I-beam, which you could with a bigger webbing, simply because of the additional weight. So in order to control the overall weight of the coach, this webbing stiffens the front where you need it stiffer, along with the tubular steel below. So you can also see that this whole metal frame is very nicely painted with very good quality paint. So you're not going to get rust later on, that sort of thing. And you can see the generator area here where the generator will be hung. This holds the generator. This coach actually has the option, you can have it either way, it's a no-cost option, of the generator underneath the living room. Otherwise it will be suspended up in the front belly. So the generator is placed on this, and I think it's a great way to do it. It has a lot of benefits, as we covered in a previous video. It gives you extra storage space up front. It still allows the same sort of level of servicing, because you can see there's a lot of space under here. The floor is at this level. There's a lot of space under here. You can sit under here and service your generator without any issue. But it does give you that extra storage benefit up front. Back here is where the spare tire goes, right here. And there's a crank to bring it down, up and down. And there will be a storage compartment over here on this coach as well. All New Horizons have a robust enough frame that you can tow a car with them if you want to double tow without changing the frame at all, or you can actually hang a motorcycle on this.
114, please. Kylie dial 114.
So this infrastructure is strong enough to carry a full dresser bike. You can see the wheels under here in dips. That's a standard feature of New Horizons. And if you walk around this way, you can see the slide mechanism. Now, this is a Lippert slide mechanism, and I always hear things in the industry about how people hate Lippert, and the Lippert frames aren't good. Well, the frames are as good as the manufacturer specifies them to be. They'll build them any way you want. But these Lippert slides actually are pretty nice. They operate very well. They're hydraulic slides. You can see that they go through the frame here, the tube here, and they're hydraulically driven. So I actually like them. I've worked on them. I've looked at the gearing on them. I replaced the shear pins on them. I replaced the gear teeth on them. It's easy enough that you can do it yourself. There's nothing daunting about the task. So I actually like these slide mechanisms. Okay, continuing up towards the front of the coach, we're on the driver's side of the coach, moving towards the front. Here's a storage compartment here. This space is wasted on a lot of coaches. You don't see anything in there, but here this will be down in the skirting. It'll be storage in the skirting. And coming up to here, you can see the grid work. This is the sewer compartment. So you don't have to put your sewer hoses and dirty sewer accessories inside your main compartment. You can put them in here, and if they leak a little or drip, it'll just go onto the ground through the grid. And then this is the main belly up in here. In this coach, this is going to be propane, and this will be the storage compartment for the coach. Now, this upper deck is pretty small on this coach, so it'll have limited storage compared to something like my 44.5-foot coach, which has cavernous storage in the middle. You can see the Bigfoot levelers here, and you can see how they're all independent. They are electrically wired together, so they're coordinated by the control, but there's separate hydraulic tank and piston for each one, hydraulic piston. And you can see they're canted a little. They're 2 degrees, they're canted 2 degrees, and that stabilizes the rig a little bit more than if they were just straight down. Most coaches, they have them straight down, but in recent years you're starting to see them more and more canted a little bit. And this has a bedroom slide up here. The drive mechanism is here. It's the same sort of mechanism that's used in the rear for the rear two slides. Again, I think it's a very good drive mechanism by Lippert. And coming up towards Hitch here, you can see how reinforced this frame is. You'll hear on the internet and see people complain about fractures up here. Well, the suspension that's more ride dampens the ride a little, so you don't have as much stress coming up here. And if you use an air ride hitch on these bigger coaches, then you won't get stress coming up this way. But if you look at how this is reinforced, how big the tubular steel is, and how the inside of this pin box is reinforced, you can see you're not going to have any issue with the New Horizons as far as breaking your front of your frame due to road hazards, that sort of thing. You can see there's quite a few gussets welded in here, and the side of the pin box also contains the angle iron welded to the side to give it additional strength. And this is 3/16. This is 3/8 inch plate in here that is hung from. So when you look at this pin box structure up here, it really doesn't get any better than this. This is state of the art. You know, you could do as good as this, but you're not going to improve it any. This is an excellent setup. One of the reasons New Horizons are as heavy as they are, besides the internal structure, you know, using real wood, using real residential materials, is the frame. The frame is very heavy duty. New Horizons has a 5-year structural warranty on these frames. So they stand behind their work. You can see gussets here, lots of reinforcement in it, gussets all around here. There's extra gussets up underneath here. Very large gusseting here, very large gusseting here. You know, it's just very stoutly built, and which is what you'd want to see in a heavier rig like this, and in a higher line unit like this. You expect this sort of construction. You want it to last a long time. You're going to pay good money for it. You want it to last a long time.